On the first Sunday of every month, we take time as Oasis to receive communion in our home churches. And that is something we're collectively doing throughout all the home churches that are going to meet this week. So although you're doing that specifically in your home church context, we are doing that collectively as Oasis throughout this week. And as we think about this time of year, there are a lot of symbolic things that we set up to remind us that Christmas is here. From the first thing probably is a tree, right? You've got I would assume by now, probably a Christmas tree set up in your home. And maybe that's been up for a while, kind of depending on how eager you are for the season to be here. And that, of course, that tree is going to have lights and ornaments, right? Symbolic things. And maybe like you, our Christmas tree has lots of ornaments that remind us of different times and different seasons of life. In fact, every Christmas we give our kids a new ornament that sort of symbolizes the year that they've had, and we write the year and their name on it. And so you look at your Christmas tree and you're seeing these symbolic things that sort of remind you of life. They remind you of things that are important. Another thing that we have set up in our home, and actually we have set up here at the church building as well, and maybe you have set up in your home, as a nativity, right? And we set out that nativity to remind us what this time of year is all about, right? It's the fact that Jesus came. He came as a baby born in a manger to peasant parents, and that is how God chose to enter into his creation. And with communion, it's also another symbol to remind us of a later point, sort of the culmination of why Jesus came, right? His death and resurrection for us. And so the symbols of communion, the bread and the juice, remind us, just like the ornaments remind us of different seasons of life for our family, and the nativity reminds us of why Jesus came. And so the setting for all this is a table, and it's the Last Supper with Jesus and his disciples before he would be crucified. And as he has them around the table, just like many of you probably gathered over the last week or so for Thanksgiving, gathered around the table, he took bread, and I've got here a wafer. You may have something else where you are. But he took that bread, he held it up, and he broke, and he said, "This is my body, which I give for you." And this would have been a brand new understanding and way of looking at bread, specifically bread within the context of a Passover meal. So Jesus was starting something new. He's saying, listen, I came physically in a body for you. This is my body, which I give for you. Now let's pray, and then we'll receive the bread together. Jesus, we thank you for the fact that you came. And as we celebrate this time of year, Jesus, the fact that you came as a baby, you came in a vulnerable state. You chose to enter into your creation in a way that was unexpected. So Jesus, we thank you that you came, that you live, that you understand what life is like. In Hebrews, it talks about how we have this high priest in you, Jesus, who isn't unaware of our struggles. You were tempted in every way, but you did not sin. So Jesus, we thank you that you came, that you understand what it is to be human. And even though you remember, God, as it says in Psalms, you remember that we are made of dust. God, you still love us. And Jesus, you chose to give your body to take on the whip lashings, the nails in your hands and your feet, the spear in your side, the crown of thorns on your head. Jesus, you took on those things for us. And so we remember and we say thank you for your sacrifice for us. Let's receive the bread together. Then the same way, it says after supper, he took the covenant cup, the cup of wine, and he said, this cup is a new covenant. Unlike the Old Testament covenant of law that God had established between himself and the people of Israel, Jesus says, I'm starting something new. I'm starting something new, a new family of God, a new Israel in a sense, a new people of God. It's formed by my sacrifice of love. This cup represents my blood, which is going to be shed on the cross for you. And so Jesus did pay the price for our sin. He came not just to hang out, he came on a mission to rescue and redeem you and me. And that's what we remember as we receive the cup together. So let's pray, and then we'll receive this. Jesus, we thank you for your sacrifice, your blood that was shed, because Jesus, our sin is a weighty thing. It is not a cheap thing. You paid for it with your life. You said, I've come to start a new covenant, not of law keeping, but of love, of relationship. And Jesus, you have made a way for us to freely receive that, to receive that restoration and redemption that is available through your grace and your mercy. So Jesus, we say thank you that you came, that the fact that you shed your blood on the cross for us. And so we do not want to take that lightly, but Jesus, we receive that with joy. So we say thank you. Let's receive the cup together. And as the Apostle Paul says in 1 Corinthians 11, every time you eat the bread and you drink the cup, you proclaim that Jesus has come, that he has paid the price for our sin. We proclaim that until he comes again. And as we're talking about through our Advent series, we are in this in-between place, right? Jesus has come. We're going to celebrate that in a few weeks at Christmas. But we recognize that he is going to come again, and he's going to make all things new. And so as we stand in between those points in history, we say, Jesus, thank you. And Jesus, come soon. God bless Oasis.